In this video, we're going to be breaking down this really cool DIY garden enclosure that was put together by Richard for protecting his garden and the plants inside. This is really cool. This is all made out of electrical conduit, which you can find off the shelf at different hardware and home improvement stores. And you can cut EMT conduit, even though it's a steel tubing. You can cut it with a handheld pipe and tube cutter that you basically just secure and rotate around the EMT conduit, and then you tighten it some more, rotate it around, and you just repeat that process all the way until you make your cuts. And you can customize EMT conduit frames really easily because of that tool. You can cut EMT conduit and makes it, just really simple to put these projects together. And then the pieces of hardware that these pieces of conduit are connected together with are Maker pipe connectors, which we manufacture out of steel in upstate South Carolina. And you don't have to do any drilling or welding for those. You just use a 5mm hex wrench to clamp the pieces together, and they're friction based, so they rely on friction, and you don't have to worry about drilling or welding, anything like that, like I mentioned. We're going to break down this frame and talk about the different techniques that made it possible. So first of all, we'll just go with the verticals here. And I like the way that Richard put this together with the verticals because they run all the way from the ground all the way up to the top of the garden structure that he put together. Of course, there's one back there in that corner. Actually, it's back here in this corner, and then there's one here as well. But I really like the idea of putting this on the outside of the garden bed all the way down to the ground and then securing this in place with 2-hole straps, which is exactly what he did. And if you haven't seen those are a really inexpensive accessory you can get off the shelf with when you're getting your conduit, or we have them on the website to make it convenient for you whenever you get connectors. But basically, it's just a piece of metal that has a tab on each side, and then you just basically drill holes. Actually, the tabs already have holes in them. You just add the screw through the tabs into whatever material it is you're securing them to. But that's how he secured these frames here. He's got a few different 2-hole straps going around these verticals on all 4 sides to secure that in place there. And that's a really good idea. Then these verticals go up, and he's using the 90-degree connectors from Maker Pipe, which allow you to connect 3 pieces of EMT conduit together. You have the one in the middle that runs continuously through it, and then you have these other 2 pieces that terminate in the connector and then go to the other 90-degree connectors and in the other corners to complete this box shape. And this is really the best way to make a box. If you're making a 3-dimensional box, these are the connectors I would use, the 90-degree connectors, because they're really simple and the easiest thing to use to make boxes like this. But really, that's the main frame of this put together, and I usually recommend people just start with frames like this and then customize it as you need, add more bracing, add doors, different things that you need. So we'll see what exactly Richard did here to customize his frame. And I think this is mirrored from the front to the back. I think it's able to open. The front panel opens and the back panel opens. I could be wrong about that, but we're just going to assume that's the case and just mirror this on each side. But basically, he has a front to back support using the Maker Pipe T connector, which allows you to join 2 pieces of EMT conduit together. You have one that runs through the top half of the connector, which is this red piece of conduit that we marked. Then you've got this other piece of conduit that goes from one side to the other and terminates in there, and that's what we've marked just now with the green. And it again joins 2 pieces of conduit together. That's the most versatile connector in the system. You can use it for a lot of different things, but most commonly this is what it's used for in projects. And so basically got that, and of course it'll be mirrored on the opposite side as well. And then we can see the same technique here to kind of frame out the doors. He used 90-degree connectors to have this horizontal piece of conduit go from one side of the frame to the other, and that kind of frames out the gate here that opens and closes. And then the gate is kind of made in a similar way, where it's just a 2-dimensional rectangle, and I'm going to draw it out here, 2-dimensional rectangle with T connectors in the corners, and then you've got the pieces of conduit that go from one side to the other, and then the vertical pieces of conduit that run through the top half of the T connector, and that's the best way to make a 2-dimensional rectangle, and you just build that slightly smaller than the hole that you have for the gate, and then you just need hinges. And I can't see exactly what hinge solution he used here. It doesn't look like any one I've seen before, so I'm not entirely sure, but you could also use the 3D printed ones that we sell on the website. Those are made by a community member, and we sell those, and his YouTube channel is Northwoods Engineered, and so is his website. If you want to check those out, I definitely recommend it. But that's a good way to secure gates and things to frames, and then you can swing those open and have access to your garden while still keeping out the critters and things that you want to keep out. But as far as I can see, that is pretty much the whole frame put together. Just that gate there that sits inside that frame nicely. And I'm pretty sure it's mirrored the same way on the back from what I can tell. So then all that's left is adding the enclosure material to the outside of this frame. And it looks like it's just commonly available metal chicken wire that you can get at Lowe's and Home Depot, places like that. You can also pick that up while you're getting your conduit. And that is just secured to the frame, we can see, with just the classic nylon zip ties, which are inexpensive and just a really easy way to secure these. If you want something to be a little bit stronger and hold up better, I would recommend using the metal zip ties. Those are another great option for securing materials. But basically, you just, unravel that and put it around your frame and then secure it and make it look nice like he did here. And you've got a really cool garden cage that is protecting your plants from the critters and whatnot. So really cool. If you have any questions or different comments about this build, feel free to leave those down below and I'll get back to you with as much information as I can. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.